Yo, and welcome back to another Honest Take. Today we are reacting to the band Nightwish and the song Storytime from Wacken, I'm assuming Wacken, 2013. I remember when I was in 10th grade, I heard about Nightwish, and everybody was super excited about them. Glad to know they're still relevant. I have never heard this song. I've heard of Nightwish, but I'm not familiar with their sound that much outside of like one song. I know it's like operatic rock, but this will be my first live listen, so we're going to jump right into this. As always, guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We're going to get into this. Here we go.
I think it's time for a little story. It's definitely story time.
Classic. Gotta have a bull's head. That mix of instruments is so strange. It's got like that glockenspiel sound with that punk kind of thing, and then the guitar. It's such an amalgamation of all the rock styles. I'm such a sucker for goth women. My girlfriend's goth, so definitely have a type. So far, so good. Nice. She's got a really nice set of pipes. Vocal lines super clear. I mean, she nailed that melody. I mean, she might have wobbled a little bit, but I mean, that's just a live performance. You know, half the time you can't even hear what you sound like with monitors. Yeah, so far so good. Bro, I have thrown my neck out so many times. I have neck problems. And there was this one time I had a little bit too much to drink. And there was a cover band just playing the crappiest blues rock. And for some reason, it like spoke to my soul. And I went into this venue. It only had like 20 people in it. And I was just like going so hard, throwing my neck around. And for the next like week, couldn't move. And I think I injured my neck, but it was totally worth it.
I have the destination, I have the home, the trail that leads you. The way that takes the night, feel is high, follow the madness, and as you know, what's the imaginary of the dream of hurry up, caress the tales and they will dream. Will be the storytime escape, it's that intoxicates. The core of all I guess the living chest of tales. I got the voice I never read. The innocence and dreams of every day. I got the empty crib of Peter Pan.
I am the empty crib of Peter Pan. I like that line. That's cool. That's an interesting image. The perspective of the crib losing its only purpose, which is to house a baby. And like, you had one job, crib, and you failed.
I remember it that you hold me.
Classic. Okay, there's those orchestral instruments. Is that coming out of him? There it is. Oh, that chord progression was awesome, and that resolution. Let's listen to that one more time. Oh, and we're back. Super cool. Nice. Oh yeah, one more. Oh man, I would have loved to take pictures of that band, especially this shot right at the end. Right. That would have been a great shot. That one right there. Perfect. Look at that. Photoshop out that stand. I'd move her stage right, so she'd have all those like stars in front of her, and I'd shoot really wide and I'd try to get really close. The security guards would get all pissed off, but she would just look like she was on top of the world. That one too, right there. Look at that, how it makes it look like she's in a throne of fire with the fire in front. Oh man, I miss concert photography so much. Dude, there is nothing like being in the front lines of a show like that with the fire just blasting in front of you. It's such an outer body experience. It's the only way to explain it. Nightwish. Storytime from 2013. I can't believe that was 10 years ago. Holy cow, man. Time flies. Nightwish is like, not the emo, but for lack of a better term, the emo kid that Evanescence wasn't like hardcore enough. But there's one thing about like that metal, like rock and roll metal community. Like they dress in a way where it kind of pushes everybody else away, but like they're the most like vulnerable ones amongst us. They clothe themselves in almost this armor to protect themselves from how sensitive and vulnerable they really are. And that makes perfect sense because, you know, some other people who dress like, all, you know, fluid, and they have such like an accepting vibe, or some of the most calloused people and like insensitive people. I would much rather hang out with gothic people. As I said earlier, my girlfriend is gothic. I don't know if this really qualifies as gothic. The only thing gothic about her is, you know, she's got, let me see here. My girlfriend's going to kill me. She's always telling me like, oh, that's mall goth. That's this kind of goth. So from what she's told me, that's like a late 1980s goth, because it's monochrome. It's all black and white. And she does have some kind of studs, which happened in the late 80s, I think. Sarah will kill me, but, you know, that's what boyfriends do. They screw up, right? Nightwish, I got nothing bad to say. The band's super tight. I thought at times the drums were a little boring, but that's the vibe for this type of music. This operatic kind of la 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 la, like that kind of stuff. The show was wild, you know, with all the pyrotechnics and the lights, and the crowd was just like super into it. The fiery bullhead, classic. I'll leave it on this guy. Ah! But something I wish music would do more of is genre blend, because there's elements of punk in here, there's elements of grunge, there's elements of theatrical rock, like how you would play in an orchestra. Like, even the way it's mixed feels very like classical inspired. And what I wish modern music would do more of is that type of harmony and that type of chord progression that happens around this area where she belts out that crazy awesome note. Like, you don't hear harmony like this in modern music, or like pop music in general. Like, this harmony in the next few seconds, you don't hear it anywhere outside of like classical rock. Nice. And that's because, you know, most people who write music in the modern era don't really know how music theory works. Like, you actually have to like go into you have to like disassemble your chords, rearrange them in a certain way, and like force that harmony to work and resolve in a certain way to get that, you know, that really satisfying cadence. That's what they're called. A cadence is where a certain type of harmony moves into another one and then goes in opposite directions to resolve back into the original root note of the key you're in. I think that's the easiest way I can explain that. And a key is an assembly of, like, think of a keyboard, like C, like middle C. Everybody knows where middle C is. It's the two black keys in the middle, and it's the white key that's left of those two black keys. That's middle C. A scale would be to C to the next C. And that pattern of 12 notes just repeats over and over and over again on a piano. And how you arrange the spacing of those notes in that scale, like if you just go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, like that, there's an underlying interval pattern that happens, and that's how you can move quote unquote keys. And there's one in major, there's harmonic minor, melodic minor, and there's major, natural minor, natural major. I mean, there's a zillion different ways to do it. I mean, it's literally endless, but I feel like if musicians in the modern era, you know, took that stuff into more consideration, we would have a lot more interesting music. And that's why, you know, when electronic music was born, it was like heavily like rhythmically driven. And that's because I think rhythm is more easily understood innately than harmony is, because harmony is just such an animal to do properly, and without it just being like the same boring chords over and over and over, 1, 6, 4, 5, 1, which is what like all music is based around. I love bands that aren't in the mainstream's eye, but they have just like massive followings, like bands you've never even heard of, and they're selling out arenas. I love that stuff. Anyway, guys, I hope you learned something from my little music theory rant there. As always, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, if you like me, I love you. And if you don't, you can fuck off. Peace.